shift gears right now and take you from the Washington Post newsroom to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the Army post there, where we are standing by momentarily to hear more about word that Army Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl is about to be charged with desertion, and we're expecting to get the official word from the Army at Fort Bragg. Of course, Bowe Bergdahl was captured by the Taliban after he left his post in Afghanistan. Now military officials are, the Judge Advocate General's Corps is going to have to prove Bergdahl did that with no intention of returning. He was held by the Taliban for 5 years before he was released in a prisoner swap that was okayed by the White House. We're, again, standing by to hear more. We got a standby there just a second ago, but as these things go, sometimes they don't immediately happen. Of course, a lot of people are going to remember that it was in the Rose Garden of the White House on a Saturday morning that Bowe Bergdahl's parents were invited by the president there in what was a very tender scene. It's a whole different story right now. We're standing by to hear more, and let's listen in.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming to Fort Bragg today. I'm Colonel Daniel J.W. King, spokesman for U.S. Army Forces Command, and I'll provide you with a statement with regard to the Army's investigation of Sergeant Robert Bowe Bergdahl's 2009 disappearance in Afghanistan. Due to the specific and legal nature of the information I'm about to provide, I am unable to take your questions, but our staff here will provide you with a copy of this statement and points of contact to address your questions at the conclusion of this statement. Our statement follows. The U.S. Army Forces Command has thoroughly reviewed the Army's investigation surrounding Sergeant Robert Bowe Bergdahl's 2009 disappearance in Afghanistan and formally charged Sergeant Bergdahl under the Armed Forces Uniform Code of Military Justice on March 25th, 2015, with desertion with intent to shirk important or hazardous duty and misbehavior before the enemy by endangering the safety of a command, unit, or place, and has referred the case to an Article 32 preliminary hearing. Again, Sergeant Bergdahl is charged under the Uniform Code of Military Justice with one count of Article 85, desertion with intent to shirk important or hazardous duty, and one count of Article 99, misbehavior before the enemy by endangering the safety of a command, unit, or place. As you recall, Sergeant Bergdahl disappeared June 30th, 2009 from combat outpost Maslalak in Paktika Province, Afghanistan, and was subsequently captured. Regarding next steps, an Article 32 preliminary hearing is a legal procedure under the Uniform Code of Military Justice designed to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to merit a court-martial and is required before a case can be tried by a general court-martial. Legal experts often compare an Article 32 preliminary hearing to a civilian grand jury inquiry. The Article 32 hearing will take place at Fort Sam Houston, Texas. Specific scheduling details and procedures for news media coverage of the hearing will be announced at a later date. Following the Article 32 preliminary hearing and receipt of the Article 32 preliminary hearing officer's recommendations, the report will be forwarded to a general court-martial convening authority, who may refer the case to a general court-martial, refer the charges to a special court-martial, dismiss the charges, or take any other action deemed appropriate. There are potential punishments associated with the two charges. Article 85 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, desertion with intention to shirk important or hazardous duty, carries a maximum potential punishment of a dishonorable discharge, reduction to the rank of E1, total forfeiture of all pay and allowances, and a maximum confinement of 5 years. Article 99 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, misbehavior before the enemy by endangering the safety of a command, unit, or place, carries a maximum potential penalty of a dishonorable discharge, reduction to the rank of E1, total forfeiture of all pay and allowances, and possible confinement for life. The specific legal elements associated with Article 85 and Article 99 are available within the written statement provided to you here today. Forces Command officials associated with this legal case cannot discuss or disclose the findings of the 2014 investigation while legal actions are pending, out of respect for the judicial process, the rights of the accused, and to ensure the proceedings' fairness and impartiality. The Army's 2014 investigation into the circumstances of the soldier's 2009 disappearance and capture in Afghanistan is currently being treated as potential evidence in the pending Article 32 preliminary hearing. This concludes our statement. Thank you.
Live coverage for you here on News Channel 8 from Fort Bragg in North Carolina, where how the Army views Bowe Bergdahl has changed very dramatically after an extensive, almost year-long now, investigation and review by the Army Forces Command. And under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, what they always refer to as the UCMJ, he's now been charged with 2 counts, desertion and misbehavior before the enemy. Desertion, punishable by dishonorable discharge, being busted down to the lowest enlisted rank, and 5 years in prison. It's Article 99, though, the misbehavior before the enemy, that is the more serious of the 2 charges. And you could also be dishonorably discharged, busted down to E1, but it carries with it a maximum of a life in the stockade sentence. So 2 very serious charges now facing Bowe Bergdahl. And here's what happens next. This now goes before what's known as an Article 32. It is a preliminary hearing, if you will. You heard the colonel there say that it's also very similar to a grand jury. It is to see if there is, in fact, enough evidence on these charges to move forward with a military trial if that Article 32 does recommend additional prosecutions. There are a couple of ways it could go. You heard that it could go to a general court-martial or a special court-martial. That Article 32 will be convened at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. We don't have a date for it yet. But again, those 2 charges, in Article 85, desertion, the possibility of 5 years in a stockade. Article 99, which is misbehavior in front of the enemy, carries with it life in the stockade. Bowe Bergdahl now suddenly in the legal fight of his life. He was captured, held 5 years by the Taliban. The question now is, did he desert before he was captured? Live coverage for you here on News Channel 8. We'll